Hey guys, today we're going to talk about what you can plant in zone 8B/9A in February. We are approaching the end of the first week of February 2023. It's been gorgeous weather after our Christmas Arctic blast, and I keep saying don't be fooled, don't be fooled. But I have gone ahead and put out some warm weather seeds, and I'm starting all kinds of seeds. We're getting ready for a plant sale. Our last frost date is estimated to be mid-March, and so come along. I'm gonna do some garden work today, and I may have to do some voiceover work. It's windy. Eric is in the back working on doing some dirt work on a machine, and it's loud back and forth, back and forth. He's working his way up closer to the garden. But that's okay, you'll get the gist of it. Here are some things that you can plant and do in your garden in February. All right, for starters, I'm cultivating this onion bed. This isn't necessarily something to plant, but it's something that needs to be done. And I'm just scratching the surface of the ground, giving them a little room. Now onions, they root at the very bottom. Just like how you'd see the roots on the end of some scallion onions, some green onions. That's how they're attached. So I don't want to peel the skin off of here. I want to be careful not to do that. I'm just scratching this dirt away, giving this guy some room to grow. So I have this whole bed. All right, to get a hat, it's so bright out here. I'm going to cut this cabbage. I made a terrible mistake in the fall when I started all of my brassicas. I mistakenly sold too many of my cabbages. So we've only had a handful of these Catarina F1 hybrid cabbages. They are so good, and I'm kicking myself, but that's okay. I have a whole flat ready to go for spring. So I'm gonna get this one out for dinner. It's gonna save me a little space in this garden bed to plant something new soon. And this is one of those things that you can start right now. Our brassicas, your cabbages, your broccolis, your cauliflowers, your kohlrabis, your Brussels sprouts. It may be a little late for Brussels sprouts here because it does get so hot. And we are on the tail end of being able to start all of those things here in this zone because we get so hot so quickly, and those plants tend to bolt when they get too hot. Your broccolis will bolt and open before they're ready to harvest. Your cauliflowers will do the same. Your cabbages will start to grow upwards instead of forming heads. So if you want to get some brassicas started, do it soon. A lot of oak leaves falling on this one. Look at the water pouring out. Ah, I cut too much. So we're going to use this cabbage for a humble dinner of potatoes that we have canned. We'll put them on the air fryer setting in the oven. Make them look kind of like a home fries, onions, cabbage, and ground sausage. Almost like an egg roll in a bowl, and maybe even add a little carrots. Should be delicious. I have this flat of Catarina cabbages. These are all for my family. We won't be selling these because we sold too many in the fall. We don't have any cabbage. We had a couple, but we really do miss having as much fresh cabbage as we're used to getting in the fall. So these will all go in our gardens. For now though, they're just gonna harden off, and I am taking plants out of my shed. We're gonna put them under this little low tunnel I have built. All right, so February is kind of a transition month where we are finishing up planting our cooler weather crops, and we are starting our warmer weather crops. I'm so excited. I hope you are too. So this is kind of last chance to sow those brassicas like I mentioned. Carrots would be your other root things. Carrots, beets, radishes, turnips, and rutabagas. Those are going to be cool weather crops here down in the south. And then some green things like Swiss chard. You can get away with that in some warmer weather as well, but this would be a good time to start it. Your collard greens, your mustards. I already said turnips, but you can use the greens from those turnips. And then your celery. Celery is fairly new to me. I am not going to pretend to know what I'm doing with celery. I've shown you my celery. It seems to be a perennial, which is great, and it does better in the cooler weather. So I'm going to be cutting a bunch back and see if it tolerates the summer and then starts to come back in the fall like it did last year. I just didn't cut it back last year, so we'll see how it does this year. But celery would be one of those things that does better in cooler weather. And then potatoes, you want to start getting your red and white potatoes in the ground now. You can usually find those at your local feed or hardware stores. I have bought mine from Ace at a couple of different Aces, and you can order them as well. You just want to make sure that you're using certified virus-free potatoes. Some good things to go ahead and get started indoors are going to be your tomatoes, eggplants, and peppers. Those are things that I have started under my grow lights in the shed. I'm about to show you. I'm moving those out to my low tunnel because I'm out of room with the lights. I don't want to purchase more lights, and so I'm setting up a new seed starting growing space for this year. I hope to have a greenhouse going into next winter. I'm also starting my melons, my squash, and my cucumbers. Those are all in the same family. We are about 5 weeks out from our estimated last frost date. That is an average. It may come sooner, it may come later. I hope it comes sooner and I can just put those things in the ground. But in anticipation of our plant sale, I'm going to go ahead and get those started anyways, and they should be just fine. I'm starting them in big enough pots that I won't have to worry about up potting. Those things don't tolerate being up potted very well. They're fine to start indoors and then transplant them into your beds outside if you do it carefully. But they also do very well just a direct sow. So if you want to wait until we're closer to warmer weather, you can do that too. And I'll do that as well as I succession sow. Now's a good time to start some of your herbs. The herbs that I'm going to be starting right now are basil, I already have started, cilantro, dill, I have started. Your cilantro turns into coriander as it goes to seed in the warmer months. I'm also starting some lemon balm and some parsley. We go through a lot of those, or we go through a lot of parsley when it's dried, and so we're gonna go ahead and get some of that started. I have in my beds already thyme, and that has overwintered, is coming back. Oregano, I'm sure you've seen. Rosemary, I'm gonna propagate some of that as well, so we have more of those plants. And mint. So mint is in lemon balm as well. If you put it in a bed, expect to have it there forever. You'll never get it out. It grows like a rhizome, so that all along those roots, it's actually a rhizome, new shoots pop up all throughout the bed, so they'll spread. I'm actually going to be pulling my mint out of the bed here in the garden, and I'm going to put it in a big container over there at the house. I really like to have mint in my water throughout the summer, and I like to make tea with it in the winter, and I just think it would do us better to put it up at the house. I would have easier access to it, and it'll be better contained in that pot. The last things I'll be starting closer to the end of the month, and maybe even some into March, are going to be my warmest weather things. So for me, that's going to be okra, roselle, it's in the same family. Roselle's going all over the property. My zinnias and sunflowers are going to go throughout, zinnias, sunflowers, and my marigolds and cosmos are flowers I'm going to grow this year. They're going to go all throughout both sides of my garden to help draw in some pollinators. I hope to be able to sell some cut flowers as well. We'll see how that goes. I don't really have a good plan formulated. It's just in the early stages of a great idea right now, so we'll see. Green beans, ginger, corn, southern peas, or like I want to do some black beans, your lima beans, your black-eyed peas, those kinds of things. Those are warm loving. They'll grow all summer long. So peanuts are also warm loving. Loofah and my sweet potatoes. So all of those things I'll be planting last. I'll be direct sowing most of them. I may start some roselle at the end of February under that low tunnel just to kind of give it a head start. I might want to try to sell some. I'm not really sure. I don't know how many seeds I have either. So that's kind of it. So in that order, our cooler weather things are happening right now. The warmer weather things that take the longest to germinate and get started before transplant are also happening now. Those were the tomatoes, the peppers. I think I forgot something, and that's the ground cherries. I'll be growing some pineapple ground cherries. I hope that I have some volunteer that they just started to take off at the end of last year. And my understanding is once they've made well, that they'll come back up year after year. So that's what I'm hoping for. And then those warmest things are going to be last. So in that order. Okay, so this is just me setting up my new little low tunnel space. I wanted to use the flats of the shelves out of my shed to keep the ants out of the pots. Okay, so here's how I'm starting seeds this year. So I'll cover this over. It'll stay nice and warm in the evening. Keep the moisture in. And if I run out of space, I'll use the row all the way at the end where I was hoping to build a greenhouse. That didn't happen. So another maintenance thing that needs to happen today and tomorrow, because I didn't finish, is to thin these carrots. Maybe you remember us seeding these carrots together a while back. They should be bigger than they are now, but I have neglected to thin them like they need. So I'm taking care of that now. Basically, when I thin, I use these pruning, fine tip pruning snippers. I get them at Dollar Tree. I usually buy a couple of packs every year, and I spread them amongst friends because I just think they're the best thing ever for, well, now they're $1.25, but you get the idea. So instead of pulling the carrots that need to come out, I'm snipping the tops. If I pull them out, I'm going to disturb the carrot root of the plants next to those, and those are the ones that I want to leave in. I don't want to do that. That'll kill them. So I am choosing to snip them, and the tops will go to rabbits or chickens. We don't actually have rabbits now, but they can go to rabbits or chickens, and or compost if you'd like. And then what's left underneath will just die back. It probably feeds the soil and nourishes the carrots that are growing. Well, guys, thanks for hanging in there so you can see what we're planting and doing in February. Also going to work on compost sometime this month. Compost eludes me. I think I've mentioned that before, exactly in those words. I have a hard time with it. But we're going to be planting some more fruit trees. We're going to do all kinds of things in here this month. I'm so excited. My garden's a mess again. It's just the way it is. I've been working. I'm running out of time. I need to get in and start dinner soon, but this garden needs water. So that's your last word of advice. Don't forget water. You've got to water your garden no matter how cool you think it is. Check your soil, make sure it's not dry, and put some water down. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.